The situation of Roma refugees in EU country is also not very positive in a way that many of us face with discrimination, with anti-Gypsyism in countries of hosting. People don't have access as other Ukrainians, for example, to basic services and needs in countries. It's humanitarian aid, it's access to accommodation, to equal shelter accommodation, and so on. So there is really a range of issues that we face these days.
Welcome to the Amaro Voice podcast. Amaro is from the Romani language and means our. Our Roma, Sinti and Trilla voices among Europe. Today I will interview Natali Tomenko. Hello Natali, of course you can introduce yourself.
Hello, Senor. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here. So I'm coming originally from Ukraine, central part of Ukraine, city of Kremenchuk. It's small, beautiful city, and I'm coming from Roma ethnic background. My group is called Servo Roma. My family is living in Ukraine. I'm living abroad right now in Vienna. I am a deputy director of Agency for the Advocacy of Roma Culture ARCA. So I'm a co-chair of newly founded organization in Germany, AURA. It's a Ukrainian Roma Advocacy Alliance. It's a cooperation between Ukrainian and German partnership.
Thanks for watching us. If you want to support us, you can like this video and give us a comment. And to not miss our episodes, you can subscribe our YouTube channel. If you are watching or listening right now on Spotify or listen on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, you can follow our podcast. To get all information from us, go and follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Amaro Voice. In the beginning, we will talk about the Ukrainian war and the situations for Roma during the war. So this topic can be very traumatic. For everybody who listen, take care of yourself and also for you, Natali. So if something is traumatic, you don't need to answer everything or like to tell in detail. So just in the beginning, how is the situation for Roma from Ukraine now? Who escaped from the war from Ukraine?
Well, the situation overall is not easy. I mean, the war is still continuing. And now it's a difficult also time. It's mass shootings in Ukraine around many cities because of the political situation, unstable one. Other side is trying to push us to sign every document, which we don't want to. And the situation of Roma refugees in EU country is also not very positive in a way that many of us face with discrimination, with anti-Gypsyism in countries of hosting. People don't have access as other Ukrainians, for example, to basic services and needs in countries. It's humanitarian aid, it's access to accommodation, to equal shelter accommodation, and so on. So there is really a range of issues that we face these days.
Why is it problematic that Roma from Ukraine don't get tolerated as refugees? Like example, Ukrainian refugees, they get everything when they came in Western Europe. Like example, in Germany, I'm from Germany, which is also right. So it's nothing. This should be like this. But Roma from Ukraine, they almost got discriminated, or I remember one situation in Germany, in Mannheim, Roma from Ukraine came to register as refugees and they said, no, you are not from the war, you are Roma from Romania.
I think the issue that you are tackling right now, it can be about double citizenship. So there is one issue. The situation is that some people, Roma people and other Ukrainians who are coming from Zakarpattia region, it's western part of Ukraine, close to Hungarian border. Many of them already have Hungarian passports and also Ukrainian passports. So they are kind of not in the system, no one really can see, but when they come as refugees, they are being denied this possibility because they may have a double passport. Second one. And the issue is that Ukrainians, regular people, they are not being checked. But if you come with darker skin, if you are in a group of many people, as like a big family, you speak some strange languages, Romani as they call, so you are becoming visible and you are being checked and you are being denied of basic needs. Yeah, people were taken out of the countries. For example, I know that around Bavaria, it was made a research also on situation of Ukrainian Roma, and yeah, it's totally outrageous, and yeah, I think that similar research should be done around whole Germany to see the situation in other regions. But overall, there are cases like this, and it's not in individual cases. It's already becoming like systematic ones.
How did the war change Roma from Ukraine? Like, how was life before the war for Roma in Ukraine? So, just a few examples. So,
It depends which year you mention. So full scale started in 2022, but the war overall started in 2014 when the Crimea started to be occupied and eastern cities started to be occupied. So many Roma since 2014 started to move within Ukraine. They became IDPs, like people from Lugansk, Donetsk. Um, so now the situation even worse, of course, because it's a full scale, it's around all cities. Roma as other Ukrainians, so they face the similar issues. But because they been vulnerable, even before the war, for them it's harder in a way economically, and because they face with this discrimination, they cannot hide. But the question was before the war,
mhm.
right? Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
also how the Roma from Ukraine, how they was before the war living, but also
mm,
how the war did it change them.
okay.
Yeah.
The situation before the war, before the 2014, let's say so, because in 2014 the annexation of Crimea started, and we started to see on our eastern part of Ukraine Russian troops. So before that, I can say that Roma uh, had a decent life in Ukraine, but also, of course, they were facing with different levels of discrimination, anti-Gypsyism, as in other European countries. So it was not a unique state, let's say so. But now, uh, since the 2014, many people started to become IDPs. So from eastern part of Ukraine, they started move to central Ukraine to western, and many of people since 2022 flee to European countries, and they became not refugees. So I would like to clarify here that Ukrainians, they have a special status in EU countries. They under temporary protection here. So it's kind of unique legal status. It's not asylum, it's not refugee, it's something sort specific. Yeah, so many of them became residents of EU countries. Right now, many of them still are on social support. Many of them already found jobs. They learn languages. I mean, they are integrating as other Ukrainians. But the issue is they are not being treated as other Ukrainians because of their darkened skin, because of many prejudices and stereotypes that European society also has. Yeah, that's very
Mhm.
shortly about the situation.
And also, maybe for people who don't know, can you shortly explain, because you already mentioned it a few times, what IDPs means?
Internally displaced people,
Mhm.
so the people uh, who had to move from their home places, mostly on eastern part of Ukraine, and now they are moving to central part of western, and you get a specific status, a legal one in a country, and you can benefit from a bit from social system, and yeah, it helps you to prove that you are IDP. Special programs are being developed for such people.
Thank you. So also, I think, how is it for the community? I remember when we escaped the war in Kosovo in '99. So, like example, my community is not living in Kosovo anymore. We are all like in Germany, Italy, France, and maybe like Sweden and also other European countries. So we are all not in the same place, and in that time there was not the internet was not like now, and it was very difficult to connect. So mostly people um, was going to cities when they said, okay, let's be together, and few families was going, example, to one city in, I don't know, in Germany or Italy, and nowadays it's also they try to connect, but it's always difficult because when you are so far away. So I think maybe through internet also for the different communities from Ukraine is also easy, who maybe escaped, just to connect and also to ask others. Because I remember when we escaped the war, my grandma was staying in Serbia, and for my mom was very difficult to call her and to ask her how she is, because in the beginning you lost numbers, so it's very difficult to connect to people. So how is for people? So um, is it maybe, I don't know, is it easier through internet to connect with people like your family relatives, but who was going instead to Vienna, to another country?
It's not easy, obviously, and very similar to your situation, but I would say it's a bit different in a way that men cannot cross the border these days from Ukraine. So mostly who are abroad, that's women and children. Yeah, so it's not full family anyway. There are some men who can cross the border if they have a specific health condition or other ways. But yeah, families are being separated right now. Like, if you ask about me, how I join family gatherings, yeah, through social networks. I can join them through video call and see how my family is singing Christmas carols. I'm joining them online, but it's not idealistic way. It's totally different. I mean, I can see their faces, but I cannot feel the atmosphere. I cannot feel the smell of food my mom prepared. I cannot hug my grandma. It's totally different. I mean, it's good that we have internet nowadays, but it's totally different. And what I see from a perspective of also cultural heritage expertise, that many traditions are being changed these days, and how they are adopting to the current circumstances of the war, like role of the women, for example, in community. It's quite drastically changing right now, and of course there are some positive, some negative sides of it. And overall, the role of man, what does it mean family? And for me, family is now a small family. You cannot be really with all relatives you want and you used to be previously.
Learning Romani language. So on learning Romani language, we like to ask our guests which dialect they speak, and also like to share the diverse and differences with our dialects. And then also I will have three words where we will compare with our dialects. So first, I would like to ask you, you already mentioned the name of your community, but also maybe just to say again, which dialect do you speak?
I speak Serbo-Roma dialect, the Ukrainian big ethno group in Ukraine.
So I speak the Ali dialect, so it's mostly dialect from the Balkan countries like Serbia, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and maybe also Bosnia. We have words, but also we have like phrases. So how do you say "What are you doing"?
Sototeres?
So we say "Sokere."
Mhm.
Then the next word is walking.
Jal, Tejal if it's infinitive.
Yeah, we say "Prastav" or "Pirav" for walking.
Mhm.
And we have also Tejal, but we use it like when you say somebody he needs to go or somebody needs to go, then we use also this. Then the last word is asking.
Puchel, Tepuchel.
Yeah, we also, but we just say puchav. I think the same, just different grammatical. And also, how is for your dialect? Do you have in your dialect just Romani language, or is your dialect mixed with like Ukrainian? Because in many
Yeah,
dialects it's mixed. Example, in my dialect we have a lot of Turkish and Serbian words.
I think it's common for every dialect, and in our case, Ukrainian Serbo dialect includes many Ukrainian words, obviously. Old words are same, I think, for all of us, but the new created ones, yeah, they are being taken from Ukrainian and some suffixes and endings from Romani.
Yeah, we have the same. So this was our rubric called Learning Romani Language. Learning Romani Language. You are an artist and also you share on your Instagram many drawings. Does your art help you or is it something like healing from a war trauma, you know?
Quite important. The one you see here is also mine. It's one of the first ones since the full scale. Art, for me, it's very important tool of overcoming trauma, also of expressing emotions, also getting resource, because when you're in a constant stress, you need something also to enjoy in this life, and the beauty that I can see, that I can create, gives me energy. And yeah, it's quite changed since the full scale. I used to be a very traditional artist coming from a traditional Kharkiv academy background
Mhm.
from Ukraine. Meaning, I mean, for people who don't know, means you draw what you see. So portraits, naturemorts, landscapes. So something more traditional art that you usually see in like old style museums, yeah. But since the full scale, I started to feel a need of including my imagination, of just doing something and not thinking too much, about the proportions, about the golden lines and so on. I mean, the specific terminology of artists. So I started to feel more colors. I started to feel more texture of materials I work with, because before the war I also was doing some digital art, so meaning drawing in Photoshop on my laptop and specific like parts for artists, but it was totally different. So there was a real need of touching materials, of feeling the process, of enjoying it. So it's not just the final product, which is important for me, but also the process of creation. It's a kind of manifestation, yeah. And yeah, it's like for me, it's like a trance. It's a kind of meditation. I put some relaxation music. The space is full of light. I do it during the day, and yeah, I enjoy the process. And sometimes I even lose the time. Like, is it 1 hour, 2 hours left? I don't know. So yeah, I would say that art is playing very important role, especially these days, in as a part of my identity, and the full picture becoming like the picture becoming full with this part of life, I would say.
Yeah, I noticed when I need to edit on Photoshop some graphics, like for the episodes, YouTube thumbnails, or the like podcast cover or other graphics, then I play just play some music and then on Photoshop, you need to work in detail, and then I see on the time, I see, oh wow, I worked 6 hours just for detail work. So, and at the result, it looks maybe like you did it in half hour because in detail, when you work something in detail, you think people think maybe this was going fast, but it can take a lot of time. So,
I agree. I
uh,
agree. In art work, like everyone sees just the final result. No one knows how many tries were before, how many sketches are being just thrown, and what was the process. And yeah, I feel you.
yeah. So when did you start to get interested in art, and was there maybe some inspiration from other artists, maybe also from Romani artists?
Well, I started to draw since childhood. I remember my first drawings when I was around 5 years old, six. I had very typical drawings, so it was. I mean, usually we were going with family every year to the sea, to Black Sea in Crimea. It was my favorite place, and I was drawing the sea, so it was usually sea, boat, few clouds, sun, and it was like my must-have. And I remember, yeah, this kind of paintings, and I had very good connection with my grandfather, and he was actually the one who proposed to family and actually took me to the art school later on. And yes, and 5 years of art school. Then I was also finishing at that time primary school, and then afterwards it was a decision where should I go to study like higher education. And I have two options actually. I wanted to be a graphic designer, like something connected to arts, or psychology. And it's very interesting that at that point I chose art. So in my city opened a specific faculty of graphic design, and where I was enrolled, and I enjoyed a lot. And I had very good connections with my professors, and uh, even though due to this a good connection with professors, I have a separate kind of studio there that I could use in my free time, and where I was doing experiments. At that time, I was besides of like regular paintings with oil colors, with pencils. I also was working in a linocut technique, and it was a studio with specific like this instruments, machines where you print, where you cut. And yeah, I remember those times. It's very warm time for me. So many techniques I tried, and yeah, to mention why previously I told about two professions that I had to choose at some point. So now I'm coming back again to initials, and I'm trying the second one. I wanted psychology. So now I'm studying it, and it also helps the knowledge I get from it within my mental statement, to share this knowledge with my family, with friends, with team. I mean, for me, it's very important to work, to live, to communicate with people in a healthy environment where everyone benefits from it and everyone feels as they are comfortable.
How can art be helpful for activism about different Roma topics? And also, like, do you use art work for your NGO like ARCA and others?
Definitely, we use art. ARCA, I see many organizations do it. Overall, art is a very strong method to display, to show. Because I mean, we are human beings, we perceive information from different sensors, and eyes are quite important tool, let's say. So that's why creating a Roma art in a way, and what I mean by saying Roma art, for me, it's art, the professional art, it can be different art, created by artists with Roma ethnic background. And because of existing stereotypes in society, that Roma art is something naive and so on, I think it's very good when artists highlight their identity, being a Roma, and which raises the positive impressions, narratives in society, and also yeah, tackles the stereotypes that we are as other professionals are also good in it. And if you talk not just about art, but about other areas in professionalism, I think it benefits to the community when you are not hiding, but rather sharing that who you are and what is your background. Talking about art and how we use it in organization, I mean, me having this background, of course, I'm trying to bring in each project where I see possibility, some aspects of art. For example, within the full-scale invasion, for us, it was a tool to show, to create some kind of events, cultural ones, showing exhibitions, to invite Ukrainian and Roma artists and to represent their art, to show this unity within the Ukrainian society and how we are coherent, how it's the same society but just connected to each other. And yeah, we do it besides of it, we were creating different possibilities of art therapy as a tool of healing trauma during our retreats, and different specific projects for women that we do. um, yeah, we see that it's effective. And if the question, if we continue to do it, of course. I mean, we are interested in Ukraine to increase the numbers of Roma artists, and following years we also will put efforts into this area, how to invest, how to make people interested in art, because it's also kind of stereotype that artists cannot get enough of money to live. It's very romanticizing stereotype, and I think within the contemporary world everything is possible, and just to make Roma youngsters to be interested in this, create opportunities for them, and also for the promotion, and to draw them what kind of future they can have with this profession. I think that's something what we tackle in our youth organization ARCA.
On our podcast, we like to ask our guests about anecdotes. Do you have some anecdote what we would like to share? It can be related to your work, about art, but also with your activism.
Well, I know many anecdotes, obviously, and I don't. No one comes right now to share. Um, yeah, but every anecdote also have a part of the truth. Let's say so. And the one which comes right now to the consciousness, it's something about being a Roma and how it's perceived in society. I just remember when I was leaving my previous job, in corporate job, when I was working as a graphic designer like 6 years ago, 7, before my active activism work, let's say so. I remember when people got to know about my identity. I was never hiding it. I mean, but more people got to know it, and at that point I was leaving job, and I remember there was some situation. People were sharing that some Roma did something not nice and how they were angry about it, and they're like, all gypsies are horrible. And I was like, and I'm Roma too. What is the problem? So for me it was funny. I mean, it doesn't sound funny right now, but for me it was funny to see the faces of people, how their emotions were changing, and so on. Another anecdote that I just recalled, because recently we showed a movie named Voices in Berlin on a one big event, Cafe Kiev. It's a big political activism and entrepreneur event that happening already 3 years in a row in Berlin. And we were this year representing the Roma program. We had a movie and panel discussion. So during the movie, it was very interesting moment. Kind of a joke from one of my colleague, Volodymyr Yakovenko, who shared his experience also in society. Like some people he faced were talking that Roma, they smell bad. And I just liked his reaction when he asked, like, but did you smell them? Like, really, did you try to smell? No. Maybe you should try. So yeah, it's this kind of jokes that are on the line of absurd, and it's funny for us Roma, because it's a kind of a protection mechanism as well, that if you perceive all this um, offensive stuff personally, uh, that's gonna destroy you at some point. So yeah, I think humor overall in our community is very there, and we use it to make this life easier.
I have also one anecdote.
Really? Tell me.
Maybe you can remember. So, um, I think we met the first time in Diknabisa 2017. It was also 2017, I think, right?
Yes, I think so. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So, um, many years later, I think you had a project or your work with Erjak about making research about histories from different Romani people. I think it was something about war, so you collected pictures before the war and also like making some interviews about before the war and also how it was life after the war. And I remember you did that with me for this research, and I think told you also that I don't wish others to have this same experience, and I talk about my story. And then many years later, after COVID pandemic, when I saw what happened in Ukraine, I remember I was um, chatting with Vova from your colleague from your NGO. So I was really shocked that this happened also um, the same in Ukraine for other people who I know, like who lives there, you know. So because when you experience that, you don't, of course, you don't wish others to have the same experience because this is an experience what nobody would like to have. So yeah.
Yeah, I understand you, Senor. Yeah, and it's a kind of, yeah. I just have a bit of like, this even feeling in my body when I hear it. Yeah, history repeats, and it's very sad. And overall, like a lot of activists from Kosovo right now are our closest partners, because these people know what they went through. They can be empathic to people like us, and we also have a lot what to learn from the stuff you did back at your country, how you worked on Roma topics, and how successful it is actually right now. I would say like some organizations in Kosovo, they are doing really great job, and
Mm.
how the situation of Roma improved. Yeah, and yeah, I know you for many years, and I'm actually happy to see how you're developing within your podcasts. And I think I've always been supportive and will be. Thank you so much for
Thank
inviting.
you. Yeah. So any closing words?
Closing words. I would like just your podcast to develop even more, and would like to see great speakers here. Last words. Um, I mean, if I want to say something to Roma in Europe, um, you actually see many Ukrainian Roma around you right now in many countries. So my wish would be just to be empathic to those people, supportive, and help them integrate, find themselves in life. Because right now, you European Roma who don't have this traumatic experience, you are in kind of clear state of mind. You can be this stable, yeah, kind of friend who gives hand. And yeah, I can say that we Ukrainian Roma also have a lot what to share with Europe overall, and I'm happy to see my colleagues everywhere, how they are developing and so on. So just to wish to everyone Zorbach Sastipe, and to live, enjoy, and be human.
Thanks for watching or listening. Ciao and Devlesa. This podcast is funded by the Stiftung Erinnerung, Verantwortung und Zukunft (EVZ) as part of the project Amaro Voice, digitale Bildungsarbeit über die Communities der europäischen Sinti und Roma bei der NGO Medien und Kulturzentrum Deutscher Roma e.V.